I'm Brian with Mid-Mo Treasure here on YouTube, and because it's winter and it's really too cold to detect right now, I'm going to do a how do I do it type of video and show you how I clean and preserve some of my lead and brass artifacts with this Renaissance wax. This is a neat thing. It was invented by the British Museum of Natural History, and the Brits have given us some fine things before, like crumpets and the Spice Girls. All wonderful things. So I have some bullets here. These are some Sharps bullets that I found at a cavalry camp near Sedalia, Missouri. And what I do, like most of us do, we find them, we wash the soil off, and then we put them in either a Ziploc bag like this or a jar. And after a while, some bullets from some sites, they tend to get this little powdery residue on that. And all that is the lead oxide, the white part of the bullets that's flaking off when they dry. So in order to stop this, you're going to use Renaissance wax, and I'm going to show you how. So let's take a look. But first I need to tell you the things that you're going to need for this project.
First, you will need a newspaper to protect your work area and keep all the flakes down. Then you will need a cloth. I prefer a microfiber cloth over a cotton cloth because it doesn't leave cotton strings behind. Then you'll need your Renaissance wax because, hey, that's what preserves their artifact. You'll need some toothpicks. I like the bamboo toothpicks over the regular toothpicks because they stand up better. Then you'll need some cotton swabs. Any kind will do. Then a rubber glove, 1 or 2. And finally, you'll need an old toothbrush, preferably not your wife's.
Okay, now we're ready to begin. We've got our newspaper down. It's going to stop any sort of mess or dust or whatever. Got our trusty Renaissance wax and our rag, the microfiber cloth. I don't recommend using like a cotton rag because it leaves the little cotton strings on there. I found that these old microfiber cloth work great. I'm going to go ahead and put on my one glove because we are dealing with lead, and some studies may show that lead gets in your blood. It makes you a little wacky and do crazy things, like voting for Hillary Clinton. I'm going to go ahead and take one of the Sharps bullets out, and this is a drop Sharps bullet. It's got all that powder on it from the lead patina, the lead oxide coming off. Now open my Renaissance wax. And since I cleaned all the soil off of these to begin with before I put them in the bag, I don't have any dirt or anything on there that I would need to use the toothpicks to get off. I'm going to go ahead and take my cloth. And I'm going to use the Renaissance wax. Dab a little bit of wax on the cloth. And maybe a little much. That's enough for almost 2 bullets. Got my wax on the cloth. I'm just going to start applying the wax to the surface of the bullet. Get it all good and coated on there. Okay, so now there's the wax on the outside surface. Some wax around the base. And now we use our trusty Q-tips. Take my Q-tip, get some wax on it. I want to be sure that I get some wax inside and in the rings. And these rings, you really don't need the Q-tip for it on minis or some other bullets, but I just kind of wanted to demonstrate how you can do it. These rings ultimately were put on the bullet to hold all the animal fat that they use to lubricate the bullets. So they're pretty good at getting that in there. Alright, now that this bullet is coated, you'll want to sit and let it dry. Usually you'll kind of go through the whole bag while you're doing this, and you'll have time for the ones at the end to dry while you get other ones waxed up. But because we're just demonstrating one, we're going to give it a few minutes so we have something else to do. I don't know, maybe sit around and pull your woody. Okay, we've let our bullet set and dry. And you can see it's back to the original color it was when we started. Like I said, the Renaissance wax doesn't damage the underlying patina. You can do things to damage it, but the wax itself is not going to damage it. It's going to preserve it. So we find a clean section of our rag and buff the bullet. And I just like to give it a little turn. on the front side. We'll turn here. We'll turn here at the base. To get inside the rings, I use my toothbrush. I probably should have put my glove back on, but guess I'm really willing to risk lead poisoning. Q-tip for the inside. Just lightly spin it around. Get that wax good and smooth. Alright, there it is. It's ready to display in a case, or you can put it in a bag with other bullets, and you won't worry about that patina, the lead oxide, chipping off of it. So there's one done. I know it's kind of tedious, but this is the best way I've found to deal with bullets like this. If you're going to store them like this, store them together to where you run the risk of them bouncing around and having that lead oxide chip off of it. This is the best way to do it, to preserve your finds. Alright, hopefully the sun will come out and we'll be able to hunt sometime soon. Okay, now Renaissance wax is also really good for brass. I use it on everything from spurs to buckles, plates. Here is a Spencer casing from a Spencer bullet that I found in Fulton, Missouri several years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. And I've forgotten about it, forgotten to preserve it, so now I'll kind of show you what to do with the brass. This is where your toothpick comes in handy, and these bamboo ones are the absolute best. You want to go and get out any of the corrosion that's formed on here, kind of pick at it, just like you would an Indian penny or a large cent or something like that. You're just trying to loose it. Now on something like a belt plate or something a little more valuable, you probably want to take it really easy because you don't want to damage any of the patina. It's the good thing about Renaissance wax is it coats and preserves without damaging the patina on it. So I'm just using the toothpick here. And something like this might be better off using a bamboo skewer or something a little bit big. Once you got some loosened off, go ahead and take your toothbrush. Or if you're mad at your wife, you can use her toothbrush.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, why do they call it a toothbrush? You have teeth, not a tooth.
I'm glad I have more than one tooth.
Unless you're from Kansas, then it's a toothbrush. Oh, yeah, look at there. A lot of corrosion coming off there. This came from a wooded hillside. In some of my videos, you can see some of the finds I've made there on that hillside. And just going over it, loosen up all that stuff on it. You don't have to worry about getting it too good. If you get any big clumps, you can go poke at it like that with the pokey end of the toothpick. And by scraping all this corrosion off and any other sort of surface soil that might have been on there, you're going to create a nice, good surface for that Renaissance wax to adhere to, the microcrystalline wax. Oh, there's the firing mark right there. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Again, I'm not going to get too crazy about it. Spencer cartridges aren't the most rare thing in the world, so you do want it to display nice and you want to preserve it to where you won't get any new corrosion on it. Okay. I'm going to take our cloth again, open our Renaissance wax, dab the cloth in the wax. Get some wax on there and just start waxing on, as Mr. Miyagi would say. Kind of evenly coating the surface. The wax adheres to it almost instantly. It dries fairly quickly. Alright, got that outside coated. Now for the inside, you can take your cloth and stick it on the inside, or you can use a Q-tip. I like to put the Renaissance wax on both sides of brass objects like this because corrosion isn't just on the outside, it's going to be on the inside too. And that's the point of this wax, is to prevent the corrosion. Preserve your artifacts so that your great-great-great-great-grandchildren can enjoy your collection. Unless they're jerks, then you can just give it to someone else. Right. Make sure no cotton strands are on there because it'll get dried in there. And then we'll sit that down and let that dry too. And we'll just polish it up real quick. Alright, back to our Spencer. The wax is dry and it really doesn't take much time at all on there. So I'm just giving it a little polish, kind of like I did with the bullet. Polish the base of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the rag to polish the inside. I'm use my Q-tip. Stick it in there. In this phase, I don't want any cotton on there. Might have to use a corner of the rag to get down in there. There we go. Now, more delicate casings like pinfire, if you have shot pinfire casings, you want to be more careful. Spencers are pretty hardy. Henrys are pretty hardy too. Alright, and there we go. It looks just like it did before I applied the wax, except for I've taken some of the corrosion off. And that is going to last for a long, long time. If you enjoyed our video, please like,
share, and subscribe. Me farted.